The Galactic Military Academy of Velshar had trained 11 species over 4 centuries. It had never trained humans before. Instructor Kael'vreth had reviewed the intake files twice. Homo sapiens. Tier 3 biology. Average lifespan, 80 cycles. Fragile musculature. No natural armor. No venom. No echolocation. He set the tablet down and folded 3 of his 4 arms across his chest. The 4th tapped a slow rhythm on his desk. They were, by every metric the Academy used, the weakest species to ever enroll. He had requested reassignment. The Commandant had denied it. So on the first morning of the Survival and Threat Response module, Kael'vreth stood before 8 human cadets on the observation deck above the Veld. 300 hectares of alien wilderness sealed inside a climate dome, and told himself this would be quick. This exercise, he announced, his translator collar rendering his words in clipped standard, is called the Apex Test. 1 specimen of a Kroth-Gor will be released into the Veld. Your objective is survival. You have no weapons. You have 36 hours. Any questions? 8 hands went up. He blinked all 4 of his secondary eyes. 8. What's a Kroth-Gor? Asked the one called Joe, compact, dark-haired, with eyes that moved too fast and missed nothing. 600 kilograms. Armored hide rated against plasma-grade rounds. Pack hunter by nature, though this one is alone. It has killed 14 cadets across the Academy's history. None of them were trying to hunt it. He paused for effect. You will be trying to survive it. What do Kroth-Gor eat? Asked New York, the tallest of them, with the kind of stillness that Kael'vreth associated with ambush predators. Anything warm. A short pause. What are its weaknesses? This came from Lena, small, quiet, the one whose file noted exceptional pattern recognition and whose psych profile described her as disturbingly calm under mortal stress. Kael'vreth almost smiled. There are none that a creature of your physical capabilities could exploit. Okay, said Noah, the group's designated senior cadet. He had a jaw like a geological feature and a voice that stayed flat when other species' voices climbed. When do we go in? Kael'vreth stared at him. Did you hear what I said? This animal has killed 14 cadets. Yeah, Noah nodded slowly. When do we go in? Kael'vreth watched on thermal from the observation platform as the 8 humans entered the Veld. He expected them to scatter. Every species scattered. It was instinct. Distribute the prey, confuse the predator, hope someone else got eaten first. The humans did not scatter. They stopped inside the tree line and stood in a loose ring, facing outward. He watched their mouths moving on his audio feed and turned up the gain. Kroth-Gor's armored, Dai was saying. Short, wiry, with hands that never stopped moving. So we don't fight it straight. We don't fight it at all, said Hai. The medical cadet, the one who had asked for the Kroth-Gor's anatomy files on the transit down. Not yet. We observe. We learn the pattern. I'll track, said Wa, already crouching, already pressing 2 fingers into the soil. He turned a clump of dirt over, lifted it, smelled it. Recent passage. Big. Moving east. Kael'vreth leaned forward. How does it know to smell the soil? Okay, Noah said. Standard wolf pack doctrine. We don't chase. We drive. Drive it where? Me asked. The engineer, the one who'd spent the transit sketching topology maps of the Veld from satellite imagery. The river canyon. Eastern shelf. Noah glanced at Lena. Lena had already drawn a map in the dirt. Here. 40-meter drop. 1 exit on the north side. If we push it south and east, it hits the canyon and has to turn. Then we're above it, Joe said softly, and there was something in her voice that made Kael'vreth's secondary hearts beat slightly faster. Then we're above it, Noah confirmed. For 6 hours, they herded a 600-kilogram apex predator. They did not run from it. They flanked it. New York and Wa on the left, moving through the undergrowth without sound. Kael'vreth checked their biometrics. Heart rates elevated but controlled, cortisol present but not overwhelming. They are frightened, he realized, and they are doing it anyway. Joe and Dai on the right, using calls. Actual animal calls, sounds Kael'vreth did not recognize, something old and mammalian, to push the Kroth-Gor's attention toward them and then away. The creature kept turning, confused, finding nothing solid to charge. Me had spent those 6 hours at the canyon's edge building something from branches, root fiber, and stones. When Kael'vreth zoomed in, he felt his translator collar fail him. There was no word in the Academy's database for what it was. It was a trap, a lever and deadfall mechanism, scaled to stagger something massive, scaled to give a window. They built a weapon out of a forest, he thought. With no tools. At hour 7, the Crothgore hit the canyon rim. It turned north, as Lena had predicted. Noah was waiting. He did not run. He stood in the animal's path, arms spread, and screamed. Not in fear. Something else. Something that made Kael'vreth's translator produce only static and then, haltingly. The Crothgore, which had never been stopped by anything short of military-grade hardware, hesitated. Mee's trap released. The deadfall caught the animal's left foreleg. It stumbled, crashed sideways into the canyon wall. And then all 7 other humans were there. Not running away, running in, with sharpened stakes, with ropes of woven vine, with stones and leverage and noise, with the coordinated ferocity of something that had spent 40,000 years near the top of its own food chain and had never quite forgotten it. It took 11 minutes. The Crothgore was alive when it was over. The humans had been careful about that, somehow, pinned, exhausted, and bewildered by the only species in 400 years of Academy history to hunt it back. Kael'vreth met them at the extraction point. They were scraped, bruised, breathing hard. Lena had a gash across her forearm she was treating with strips torn from her own uniform. Hai was wrapping Dai's wrist. Will was still watching the tree line. None of them looked like they had nearly died. They all looked like they had expected to win. You were supposed to survive, Kael'vreth said. Noah looked at him. We did. I said survive. Not, he stopped. There was no Academy word for what they had done. Not that. Surviving and just hiding are different things, Jo said. She was cleaning dirt from under her fingernails with a stick, utterly calm. We don't do the second one. Kael'vreth stood very still for a long moment. He thought about his reassignment request. He thought about 14 dead cadets across 4 centuries. He thought about 8 humans who had walked into an apex predator's hunting ground with no weapons and come back having built a trap. He pulled out his tablet and withdrew the request. 0600 tomorrow, he said. We do this again. With 2 Crothgore. Noah grinned. Behind him, the rest of the pack was already talking, already planning, already drawing maps in the dirt. Terrifying, Kael'vreth thought, walking back to the facility. Absolutely terrifying. I want 6 more cohorts of them.